Hello, and welcome to Season 3, Race 19 of my F1 23 My Team Career Mode with Rockstar Energy Racing, and we are here in Mexico for the Mexican Grand Prix, and a very interesting lineup in the front of the field as the McLarens have swept the front row, just like they did for the sprint in Coda, though I don't think that will stand necessarily given that Oscar Piastri suffered two different engine failures throughout the weekend. Um, and yeah, so I would be shocked if he stays in second and doesn't take a bunch of grid penalties. And we'll see where I end up after the grid penalties are all sorted out. But that is what the lineup looks like. Very different than typical. And Jamie Chadwick, has to be said, best qualifying effort for her this season, P3. Championship standings, a reminder, we are 53 points behind Mercedes, and we are 86 points ahead of the nearest second place driver in the driver's standings, Charles Leclerc, and then George Russell's 88 back, Norris 93. And in terms of the championship, those are the three that we need to worry about at this time. And for everyone else, as we're, this is 5 races to go, will be 4 after this one. It's going to take a miracle for them to catch up in the standings. Of course, Mexico does have the long run down to turn 1, so if we're able to get a good start, opportunities to gain positions are certainly there. Alright. Weather for the race is good. I want to focus on getting some these durability parts, but I don't think we have the points for any of the ones that are left here just yet. So, excuse me, a sneeze came out there real quickly. um, but yeah, so and like I said in the previous video, I'm going to save getting these final aerodynamics parts for the next season. And as you can see, McLaren are the second best team, but then you can also see how far ahead we are compared to everyone else. But there you go. So, let's dive straight into the Mexican Grand Prix, which should be, as always is, 36 laps, a very long race.
Back in the 60s, Mexico City would host the season-ending race, a party of motor racing. Well, we might not host the finale now, but Mexico hosts a party nonetheless. So welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexico City Grand Prix. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour. and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Yuki Tsunoda lines up on pole position, and Jamie Chadwick completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Russell, Albon, Golden Boy, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Stroll, Bottas, Drugovich, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, Hulkenberg, De Vries and Jehan Daruvala. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And joining me once again in the commentary box today is, of course, former World Endurance Champion Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Yuki Tsunoda.
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? And apart from that, keep an eye out for anyone getting a good launch from the midfield. You see it happen from time to time, and it can really throw a spanner into the races of the quicker cars and push them into a more risky strategy.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Seconds. The race being flagged due to wet weather conditions on lap 3. Max Verstappen became the youngest winner of a GP at just
Okay, slow down, slow down. Your delta's negative, which means you're going to... VSC ending. We're going green. Maintain positive delta until the green flags. Green flag. We've got a lot of spare energy. Okay to use your overtake button. Okay, DRS will be enabled this lap. You can use it when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place. that place back. Gap to your teammate ahead is 3.1 seconds. DRS is unavailable. The rear wing is down, so you can stay out while we work on a fix. If you think you can get past, make use of the overtake button and see what you can do. You've lost some time to the car behind. Verstappen's out in front. Okay, clear. Okay, the car ahead's beginning to pull away. You know what to do. Green flag. Use your overtake button more. It's time to utilise some of this energy. Come on. We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. Okay, be careful. We think you're going to start losing some tyre grip any time now. Gap to the car in front is 3.8 seconds. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. Affirmative, medium tyres at the next stop. Pitting this lap then, coming to the pits at the end of this lap. Affirmative, medium tyres at the next stop. Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres. Right, Jamie's coming in for a stop. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 1.5 seconds. The car behind's just boxed the mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. Verstappen's just put up the fastest lap of the race so far. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 2.6 seconds. The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done. Okay, I've got information on Joe for you. Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring. Yellow flag. Green flag. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by. 3.0 seconds. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 4.1 seconds. Gap to your teammate ahead is 7.9 seconds. Okay, information on Verstappen. They've got some kind of mechanical problem. Our gap to the car in front is 4.5 seconds. Let's use overtake and burn off some of this energy. Dropping a second a lap to the car behind. 1 second. Okay, gap ahead is 2.3 seconds. Okay, good work. Great pass. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now. Everything's looking good. Okay, that's us with 5 laps of fuel remaining. 5 laps of fuel left. Okay, we've got 4 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. Great drive, great drive. Everyone here is really happy with that performance. Well done, mate.
You can't fault the performance on the track today. A well-deserved victory. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way onto the podium now. Let's have a look then at the driver's standings. Golden Boy increases their championship lead. So, Anthony Davidson, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
Well, I certainly didn't have any complaints with Jamie Chadwick's performance today. Incredible driving.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action, and I can't wait to see what's next.
And that was the Mexican Grand Prix, and history has been made. Jamie Chadwick becoming the first female driver to ever win a Formula One race. A really impressive performance from Chadwick. Really started right from the get-go when, as I expected, Oscar Piastri dropped back several places due to some grid penalties. Chadwick got... I think the real turning point of the race was the start, where... I'll go over the replays again briefly in a second, where Sergio Perez had a crash right before the opening corner, which brought out the virtual safety car. And it came out, and Chadwick, I think, was side by side with Tsunoda or Verstappen. I'm not sure which one, but she was barely ahead, and she pretty much controlled the race from there and went on to win. There are a couple of other things I want to take a look at in terms of the replay, and I'll actually go there now. We'll take a look again at Sergio Perez. What happened to him? I think part of this was due to the flashbacks I was going through, but, watch his car. Snaps loose on him and just crashes. And that led to the virtual safety car. And actually, let me go back to see if I could go back to Chadwick and sort of give her standpoint of things. So right here is right around when the virtual safety car came out. She was just barely ahead, just enough ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, and that led to his or her, I should say, led to her having the lead. Now, I was interested in Lando Norris because he actually almost also crashed. Funny enough. He had grid penalties. He started our mid-pack. And he had a incident of some kind here. Now, he did end up rallying back to the top 10. But he had an incident that dropped him way down the field, because I remember coming through, and I had... Okay, so he had a spin. He had a spin just after the first corner. Let's take a look at it here. And just went around on him. And then he had to wait for all that traffic to go by before he could get going again. And then I think there was another incident with Leclerc because he was in the top 10. And he fell back drastically at one point. Okay, so he must have had a spin of his own. He was in 7th place. He ended up going to 6th. So he must have had a spin, maybe at the same spot? Yeah, exactly the same spin that Lando Norris had happened to Charles Leclerc. Dropped him all the way back, never really recovered. Whereas Norris, he was in a spot where he had a fast enough car, and he was able to recover to the point that he got a points-paying finish in 10th, and he got the fastest lap, so he got 2 points instead of 1. But yeah, and Verstappen was really Chadwick's main challenger throughout the majority of the race, and then he just fell off at the end. You know, my initial thought was maybe he just wore out his tires, but given how quickly he dropped off at the end of the race, I wonder if he had some sort of mechanical issue on his car. Still manages a 5th place behind Yuki Tsunoda, who takes the other podium spot, and Carlos Sainz in 4th. Oscar Piastri bounces back from an abysmal weekend in Coda to get 6th. Alexander Albon finishes 7th. George Russell, the Mercedes were not really a contender the entire race weekend. Started 8th, finishes 8th, collects 4 points. Nico Hulkenberg finishes 9th, gets 2 points for Haas. So Hulkenberg with a good result. And Lando Norris, as I already said, made a comeback and finished 10th. Just in front of Logan Sargent and Jehan Daruvala. And actually, I'm kind of curious now, because the margin between those two appears to be very, very close. So I want to go find Sargent. And the Williams cars are actually running well. You know, he gotten up to 11th. He was running in the points. I think something must have happened to Gasly. I don't think Gasly scored any points. Here, let's see. Yeah, Gasly must have had a spin as well. Let me go find out what happened to him. I wonder, was it in the same spot as before? Same spot as Leclerc and same spot as Norris? Because somebody was holding up like 6th on back throughout most of the race, and that led to that part of the pack being all jammed up. So, and yeah, Gasly running solidly in the points, spins it in the exact, so 3 times coming off that first corner. We had 3 drivers who spun, and what's interesting is that spin actually vaulted Logan Sargent into the points. And it looked like he was actually going to score points because he was battling with Nico Hulkenberg here on the final lap as we're speeding through. He was battling for position. He was in prime points scoring position. Oh, I guess Norris must have gotten him at the end. I don't know why it does that when the replay stops there, but yeah, I guess Norris must have gotten him there at the end. But there you go. Um, so take a look at the constructors' standings. Of course, that was a big race for us because Mercedes barely scored any points. We scored the maximum points outside of the fastest lap. So we've cut down the margin to just 16 points in the Constructors' Championship. So that fight very much alive at this stage. Ferrari's pretty solidly in third. Red Bull solidly in fourth. And there's really no other battling going on. I guess you could say maybe AlphaTauri and Haas, sort of, but not really. But that's where things stand right now on that front. And this was a big race for me in the drivers' championship because Leclerc had trouble, Norris had trouble, Russell was not a factor the entire weekend, realistically, and I finished second. So at this point, what do you think about this? There's 4 races left after this. There's Brazil, Portugal, Las Vegas, and Abu Dhabi. So that's 100 points for wins. 104 if you throw in the fastest lap. And then you have the wild card of the sprint in Brazil. So I think if Brazil is next, there's a chance, depending on how well I finish, depending on where the other guys finish, I could clinch the championship in the sprint. But it's looking, if things go well in Brazil, it's looking fairly likely that I may clinch the Drivers' Championship there, either in the sprint or the race itself. That will be to be determined. But yeah, after all of that, Jamie Chadwick, and I'm still likely going to be getting a new driver for Season 4, just for the sake of shaking up the driver lineup and all of that. But not just my driver lineup, but the driver lineup throughout the grid. And that's partly down to the fact that Jamie Chadwick is not a regular driver in this game. She is one of the bonus drivers, or the not legend driver, but she's not a legend driver, but one of the my team drivers, where if you release them from the team, it's not like they cannot be picked up by other teams. So if I do not sign Chadwick again for Season 4, she's not going to be on another team. So if I were to sign a existing driver on the grid, not only will that open up a spot at the team that they were at, but it'll open up a spot for somebody else on the grid, especially, or another F2 driver, and there's nobody retiring, so it could lead to some
and we're making good profit against our running costs.
Some interesting driver changes for the Season 4. Okay. Not much else to do there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching the Mexican Grand Prix, and I will see you next time for the Brazilian Grand Prix.